You don't need to sit there and scratch your head and try to guess what you should do. As a member, you simply call me, tell me basically what you want, and I try to put you in touch with one of our mentors. And that's defined as somebody that's been in the business for 15 years. Allows you to have a mini board of directors where you have the resources there that you can call on.
Welcome to the Gain Traction Podcast, the official podcast for tire business. I am Mike Edge, your host, and I have the privilege of interviewing the tire dealers, shop owners, counter sales reps, technicians, industry executives, and other thought leaders of our industry. This episode is brought to you by Tread Partners. Tread Partners is the leading digital marketing agency that specializes in digital marketing for multi-location tire and auto repair shops. Tread Partners works with clients that have hundreds of locations down to 5 locations. Get a professional, unbiased opinion and let Tread Partners review what you're doing. It starts with a simple conversation. To contact Tread Partners, visit treadpartners.com. So let's get started. Welcome to the Gain Traction Podcast, the official podcast for tire business. My guest today is Chuck Space, Executive Director for the Texas Tire and Automotive Association, also known as TTAA. Chuck, welcome to the Gain Traction Podcast.
Thank you, Mike. It's a joy to be with you.
Well, I am delighted that you came and met with us at SEMA. I knew I'd seen your face or whatever, and then but you see it.
How could you forget that?
Right, but you see it in live action. You're like, hey, wait, and then you came up and said Chuck Space, and appreciate you doing that. And I'm delighted too that Mike Burns with ITDG introduced us. He's a awesome guy.
He is. He truly is.
Down in your neck of the woods. But let's talk about Chuck Space a little bit. So where did Chuck start out in life? Where'd you grow up?
Well, I grew up in 2 different places. I was born in Texas. My dad worked for the Santa Fe, and when he got out of the service in World War II, went back, he had a job with the Santa Fe waiting for him, and so we moved from Texas to back to New Mexico and lived in New Mexico until I was a freshman in high school, and then moved back to Texas at that point, and then that's where I've been ever since.
Nice. New Mexico is one of those states that if you haven't been, everybody needs to see it. It's absolutely beautiful.
It's gorgeous. We love, in fact, love to go back, particularly in the spring and also in the fall. Again, I enjoy fly fishing, so that's a great place to fly fish. But it's a beautiful, beautiful country and lots of mountains. I love mountains and hiking and all of that. So it's a beautiful place to visit. If you haven't been there, you need to do it.
I agree. I've skied Taos, but it's just interesting when you go from Albuquerque up to Taos, the landscape, the change. And I mean, it's hard to describe it because it's all in one state and you think you're in another spot, and
it's
you're going from it is. You go from low desert, high desert, and then mountains. And it's just, it's really magnificent. And then the sunsets and all that, but beautiful place to drive through for sure. Well, you mentioned something that, everybody knows I like to ask, what's a favorite hobby or something like that. So fly fishing's a favorite hobby. Do you do a lot of that in New Mexico?
Do a lot of it in New Mexico, mostly in New Mexico, because that's where we go to chill, as you say. We enjoy going, and my wife loves to sit and read by the streams, and I walk up and down the streams fishing. So it's actually chilling for both of us. We love to be there and just enjoy the mountains.
Nice. So fast forward, how did you get to the Tire Association? You grew up, you came back to Texas as a freshman in high school, and then take us from there. How did you get to where you're at today?
It's I like to when I talk about with different groups and organizations, when I talk about life and business and that type of thing, I like to talk about the twists and turns of life because we all enjoy things that pop up that we maybe don't expect but turn out to be pretty beautiful as far as your life is concerned. I went to Texas Tech in Lubbock, graduated from there. I worked my way through school as a disc jockey and also in television news in Lubbock. Then when I graduated from Tech, had an opportunity to come to Austin, which is where we live now, and went to work as an assistant city manager for the city of Austin. Did that for a few years. That led me to working for a city councilman that wanted me to go to work for his company and do a little bit of lobbying at the Capitol. I started doing that, and then I was offered a position as a lobbyist for an association, the Texas Society of Professional Engineers. I became a lobbyist for that organization, a large state group here in Texas. That over a couple of years went from lobbyist to the executive director's position. I worked in that position for a few years and had always wanted to own my own business and be in business for myself. And during that period of time, I was helping smaller associations work their way through strategy and building the association. And I decided that I could start a business and do that. And so I started Space and Associates. And now, as one of our clients, we have 4 different clients, but one of our clients is the Texas Tire and Automotive Association. And we've been working for that group for 20 plus years now.
That's awesome. So you consult with when you're not acting as executive director for the Texas Tire Automotive Association, you actually act as a consultant to associations and helping them.
Right. Yeah, we, in fact, that's really how we got started, was working an association maybe wanting to go through strategic planning. How are we going to get into the future? What do we need to be looking at to grow? Or in some cases, you have dysfunctional associations that are having issues with the board of directors or, internal issues. And so we can come in, we can be hired to come in and work with those associations because being an outside source, sometimes they'll listen to you a little bit more than if you're on the inside and they feel like you've got an agenda. But
motive, something like that. It's just like brothers and sisters. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, take us to the process of, I've got a lot of dealers that listen to this podcast nationwide. I want you to talk about why people should be part of the Texas Tire and Automotive Association, but why should people be part of their state tire auto association? What's your best analysis, or I guess in a way, what's the pros of being involved?
Well, I think, I think there are so many positive aspects to being involved with your industry association or any association for that matter. Number one, and this is hard for a lot of folks to understand, but I think number one, that being successful in business, you owe it to your industry or your business to support the industry. And that's what most associations should be doing, is supporting their members and supporting the industry. So I think it's altruistic, I guess you could say, that people owe back to the industry a little bit of what they have taken away from the industry as far as building their business is concerned. But one of the things that I think is most rewarding to me, as I see both in the associations that we fully manage, as well as the associations that we work with on a ad hoc business, from an ad hoc standpoint, what I see is that it's really rewarding. It's really, rewarding, for lack of a better term, to see people being able to come together to accomplish things that they could not accomplish individually, whether it be from a legislative standpoint, or it could be, we're working right now in the state of Texas. In fact, I have a meeting in the governor's office on Thursday where we're going to be talking about how to make scrap tires more of a commodity as far as road construction is concerned, which will save money for the state of Texas. It'll make roads last a little bit longer. Plus, in addition to that, is going to help alleviate the problem of scrap tires that sometimes are just dumped beside the road because people don't see value in them and they just want to get rid of them. So
Yeah.
you see things happening like that where you can help the industry. And when you come together, you speak with a louder voice, and you can get further down the road, I think, by doing that. And it helps people in their business, helps make their lives better, make their lives more enjoyable, helps make their lives and businesses more successful.
That's awesome. I think of associations as you kind of alluding to this, but it's almost like it's almost like a protection too, because I've seen things where, well, I had a guy one time, it was a relatively, without getting into the industry itself, but it was relatively emerging industry, and he was having problems or whatever. And everybody out there statewide, they were just kind of brand new and competing against each other, but nobody was, joining forces. I said, what you need to do is start an association of you guys, even though you're competitors, and then you're going to have more strength in lobbying, our local state senator and whatnot, and you could probably get him to come talk to you. And he did, and it did make an impact, but it took time because it doesn't happen overnight. But it was instantly what I realized, it was just safety in numbers, and especially from the legislative side, people are going to take over. People that don't know your industry, they're going to bully you because they think, whatever stereotype they've got, or whether they perceive something or whatever, it may be completely inaccurate, but it can affect legislation in your life. And if you're not collectively trying to dictate what really needs to happen for the preservation of your industry and to serve your customers, then it's going to be done for you. And I think that's the thing that, because I do know a lot of dealers, and most of them I think are members of their associations, but there's a lot that aren't, and it blows my mind that they're not.
Yeah, and just one example of what you're saying. A couple of years ago, we had a dealer in the state of Texas that called me. He was not a member of the organization. He called me and he said, I'm having an issue with my local government, my county government here, as it deals with scrap tires. They're trying to penalize me for scrap tires that are tossed beside the road when I have a company that comes and picks them up. And so I have nothing to do with it, but they're trying to penalize me because they were looking at him as an individual. He became a member of the organization, and we were able to go to that city and that county as an association. And even though this is not our membership, we project that there are over almost 1,900 tire businesses in the state of Texas. And I wish all of them were members, but they're not. But we do have a good balance, of membership. But we were able to go to the city and the county and say, look, this industry is 1,900 businesses strong throughout the state of Texas, and what you're doing is not right. And representing him more as you say, the body of the industry, and it turned out to be very successful. We were able to get them to realize that he was not the culprit, and that there were laws on the books that could find the people that were creating the health hazard. So again, what he could not do by himself, we were able to help him to accomplish by coming forward as an organization.
Well, and I like the way you approached it, though. You're like, hey, we got there's a bunch of us, and it's like, hey, this is we're all speaking with him in this one community. And because, those things get contagious, right? You pass something, and it's fascinating to me because legislators in general feel like whoever's listening out there, you can take it or leave it for what you think it's worth, and the legislators too. But some of them could be busybodies, and they just want to, be in everybody's business, and they want to pass legislation because it feels good. But very few of them know what the indirect effects are going to be. And a lot of times, legislation get passed, and it's just no one knows that indirect consequence, because and especially if you've never been in business for yourself in that industry, and yet you're going to pass legislation free willy just because you get a couple complaints or somebody says something instead of investigating it. It sounds good. Yeah, let's pass the law, whatever. And the reality is that law could not just affect that industry, but it could contaminate, or I say contaminate, but it could increase cost across the board to every consumer in the county or the state, whatever.
And that's what they did. You're exactly right, Mike. And that's what they didn't understand. What the governing bodies there did not understand is that, once you impact this one individual that was just trying to run his business and doing everything he could to do it the right way, take advantage of him from that standpoint and not really impact where the problem is, not look at solving the problem, but just look at maybe a smoke and mirrors approach to it where it looks like you're trying to do something. And in neighboring counties that could have had an impact, you see that kind of snowball.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we see it on the state level too, because you've got states that will pass laws, and then these state legislators get together and realize, well, we did this and it helped. Not sure it helped the businesses, but it sure padded the state budgets. You may want to think about that. So they don't always look at it from a business perspective. Fortunately, here in Texas, we've got a very strong pro-business governor and a very strong pro-business legislature. So we're helped from that standpoint. But a lot of states don't have that, and can end up with some very unfortunate legislation.
Totally. And look, from a national level, looking into Texas, and I have a lot of business in Texas, but at the same time, I'm still an outsider, but looking in and seeing how many corporations have moved to Texas in the last 5 to 10 years is fascinating.
It is. In fact, I don't know if you watched Fox News this morning,
No.
but they did, I believe the guy's name is Steve Ducey.
Oh, yeah.
Did a segment on folks moving to Texas, businesses moving to Texas, and how many are doing that. And he was in Dallas and looking. There were several large buildings being built there by large companies coming to Texas. And in fact, he made the comment, and I don't know if this is accurate or not, so I'm only repeating what he said, but he made the comment this morning that in the past year, more people have moved to Texas than any other state, bringing their business, and also large corporations bringing their employees. So I do think that, with the low taxes and all the different pro-business practices that we have in Texas, if that's a pretty good welcome mat for folks that may be looking for that.
Well, I read an article on you guys that had to do with the triangle between Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, and I guess San Antonio, because that would include Austin, I'm assuming, in the triangle.
Right.
And it basically talked about the growth in that triangle. Like it exceeds other states, like and even other countries, obviously. But it's just blew my mind about just that triangle alone, how much money and growth is in that triangle inside Texas. And it's fascinating.
It truly is. In fact, when I moved to Austin back in the 1970s, I could drive from Austin to San Antonio and be very little in between, maybe some rural communities and so forth. Now you drive from Austin to San Antonio, and it's almost there's no free land. It doesn't look like it's
really.
Oh yeah, it has the infrastructure has just boomed there with different businesses and communities that have come up, and it's the same way between Austin and Dallas now. Used to be I could leave Austin and there was a little Round Rock, a little Georgetown, but not very big. And now it's just one continuous strip of businesses and homes and apartment buildings. It's just amazing how that has has just exploded over the last 5 to 10 years.
But there again, business friendly, environment, and you're going to attract people, you're going to attract workers, you're going to attract employers, etc. But so going back to the association, if someone in Texas is listening now, what's the best way if they say, all right, look, I like this Chuck Space guy and Mike talking, and I like where they're going with this, and it does make sense to be part of TTAA. Where do they go? TTAA.org. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's texastiredealers.org, www.texastiredealers.org. You can join online. Our membership is a whopping $145 annually.
Is that for any size?
Any size.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, our goal is, we're a nonprofit, 501c6, so that we can do some lobbying. But our goal is not to put a lot of money in the bank. Our goal is to service our members. And, one of the more popular, and it gets back to what you were talking about earlier, one of our more popular benefits is what we call our Mentors Council. And we have people join just to be able to participate in that. And that is where, as a member of TTAA, if you have a question, or maybe you're thinking about adding a service to your business, or maybe you're having an issue with a vendor, any one of a number of questions that small business people have over a period of time, you don't need to sit there and scratch your head and try to guess what you should do. As a member, you simply call me, tell me basically what you want, and I try to put you in touch with one of our mentors, and that's defined as somebody that's been in the business for 15 years or more, and it basically allows you to have a mini board of directors, because many of these relationships are then established not just for that specific purpose, but they're established over a longer period of time. And you're probably familiar with the 20 groups.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And this is sort of a mini 20 group where you have the resources there that you can call on. And once you make that connection with your mentor, it benefits both people. I've seen it where the mentor has benefited from the relationship also. So that's one of our more popular benefits that people.
I think that's fantastic.
Really
for $145, you basically get a board of directors you could run an idea behind, and more than likely, somebody has done that idea or thought about it or tried it, failed at it or succeeded, one or the other, and then they could tell you all the potholes. And because I've got a tire dealer right now that he was thinking about a service that he wanted to add, but then as he looked into it and the cost and everything, he said, "Nah, it's not my thing right now." But really, it wouldn't have taken him that long to get there had he been able to talk to somebody sooner.
Exactly. And what we do, if somebody will let us know what their question is, I send it out to the mentors group, and all of this is very confidential and has worked very successfully from that standpoint. And we don't put competitors together there unless they request to be together.
That's awesome.
But we send it out to our mentors group and say, okay, here's the question. Who out there has dealt with this or understands this or can help address this question? And then that's how we connect them. It's just not a random type of search, but we try to connect them with somebody that has experienced it or dealt with the issue, and it could be anything from HR. We have a lot of HR questions. We have a lot of questions as it deals with training. How do you train your people? How do you onboard? How do you train? Just all sorts of questions that come up where people can get together and brainstorm, whether it be on the phone or Zoom or whatever. They brainstorm together and they grow together. And that's what an association is really all about, is bringing people together so that they can grow their business, make it more fun, make it easier, make it more successful.
Yeah, and all for $145. I just can't get over.
$145.
You're talking about getting it. You'd have to pay an attorney way more than that just to get an yes or no answer on some things.
That brings up another benefit we have. We have an attorney based out of Houston that for on a comp basis, if a business person, one of our members, has a question, a lot of questions right now are dealing with immigration, and Jacob Motti is our we call him attorney on call, and he's a nationally recognized immigration attorney. He's got a really good infrastructure when it comes to business attorneys on staff. And if you're a member, you can call and say, okay, this guy came in and he hurt his back, and, I don't know what to do. What do you recommend? And the advice is free. Doesn't cost them anything other than the $145 membership to be able to visit with this attorney. Now, obviously, if they have to go to court or something, that's a whole different ballgame, but advice and counsel, looking at their
but just to get some preliminary steps where you're going in the right direction means everything. Yeah.
I had a tire dealer tell me here probably 2 years ago that for the $145, Jacob Motti probably saved him somewhere around $40,000 to $50,000 just in his advice and handling an employee issue.
That's fantastic. So, folks, I'd like to, and especially Texans, if you're in the tire business, you should be part of the TTAA. If you're not, get there. $145. It sounds like it's the best deal out there. And then for all the other folks listening in other states, be a member of your association. You guys have heard me. I'm a big advocate for advocacy. I think TIA is important to belong to, and as well as SEMA. They're all advocates for the industry, and it's important for each one of us to do our part there. So, well, Chuck, real quick before I let you go, what's a quote or a mantra you like to live by?
Oh, goodness. Probably going back to my spiritual life as a Christian is very important to me. And like I mentioned, I think that reading the Bible every morning, Proverbs always pops out to me as guidance for the day. And I think there are two Proverbs that I try to live by. One is that what is desirable in a man is his kindness. And the other is, as water reflects a man's face, so the heart reflects the true man. And I think if we could all, male, female, whatever, live by those two creeds or mantras, it would be a better world.
That's fantastic. We'll leave it on that. But it is fascinating that Proverbs, it doesn't feel like it was written 3,000 years ago. It feels like it's always relevant, doesn't it?
It
but
is.
Anyway,
it is very relevant. Yeah.
Chuck, thank you for being part of the podcast.
Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate it. And thank you for all you do for the industry too, because it would not be the industry it is if it wasn't for you, folks like you, and how you support us as an association and tire dealers as operators.
I appreciate it, Chuck. Thank you. It's fun. When you like the people, it makes it even better.
Amen. That's true.
So to all our listeners out there, thank you for being part of the podcast. We love you. We'll see you next time here at Gain Traction. To all our listeners, thank you for being part of the Gain Traction podcast. We are grateful for you. If you'd like to find more podcasts like this, please visit gaintractionpodcast.com. If you'd like to make a guest recommendation, please email me at mike@treadpartners.com. This episode has been powered by Tread Partners, the leader in digital marketing for multi-location tire and auto repair shops. To learn more about Tread Partners, visit treadpartners.com.